Just a quick thought on stepping away from the alcohol and how much deeper this journey becomes after the booze has actually gone out of your life. Not only in what you've been doing up in your life up until this moment, but where your focus is going to be moving forwards. Right now, I understand that the conventional wisdom is very much one way. You know that if you stop drinking alcohol, you must have had a problem with alcohol. That there is something actually wrong with you personally, either from a physical point of view or from a psychological point of view, how you process things. Now, when I finally got it into this thick skull of mine that I had to stop drinking, that way of thinking just never worked for me. You know, thinking I'd lost control of myself or I'd lost control of my life. It just wasn't something that I believed. It wasn't something that I could get into my head. You know, I went against that idea, went against so many of my beliefs that I had about myself. And it wasn't because it was for the want of the lack of trying, I should say. You know, I tried to see myself as an alcoholic. I tried to see myself as some kind of a victim of a disease. I tried to see myself for that it was me that had the problem and not the alcohol. But I knew that that was bullshit, right? I'd gone through enough bouts of fruitless moderation to at the very least understand that about myself, right? The more I tried to push my thoughts into that kind of a mindset, the more barriers that mindset seemed to create in my head. So when I'm talking about that mindset, I'm talking about the negative thinking. It creates anxiety, confusion, it creates pessimism, you know, and it's like you're looking down the barrel of a gun that you can't get away from, because that gun is actually inside of your own head and it's ready to fire off at any moment, and it's of your conjuring. You know, you're going along with this narrative. So it's easy to see how your mind can be dragged backwards, all over the place. When you make the decision to stop, you're at a crossroads in life. You're at a place when you're at your most vulnerable, I think. Not only are you in a vulnerable position because of all the alcohol that you've been drinking and the damage that that's caused, for however long that's been, however much damage it's caused to your body, to your soul, no matter what way you look at this, there's going to be some big changes that need to happen, that, you know, it has to happen. You're on the threshold of those big changes and you know it. That's what the crossroad is all about. You're there, you know you've got to make these changes, and a lot of the time people are trying to avoid trying to find shortcuts around that, but there are no real shortcuts around it, especially the psychological stuff. Big change brings insecurity, as your world is kind of turned upside down, right? You know, you're exposing yourself to the unknown, you're leaving yourself open to to susceptibility, and sometimes that's bound to bring thoughts of weakness and fragility. You know, if I'm being honest, I think that's the intention of some of the conventional wisdom, some of the traditional way of stopping drinking alcohol, in the way alcohol in society in general views you. You know, when you try and stand out from the crowd and you say to yourself, I'm going to stop. You know, if you make someone vulnerable, you've got a better chance of getting them to listen to you and follow the direction that you want them to go. But they're not asking you to listen to them and to follow them for a few weeks while you sort yourself out. You know, they're asking that you believe there's something wrong with you at a fundamental level. You know, something that they're trying to convince you that you're powerless to change things. You know, something that you can only manage, you know, in terms of managing things, that you'll have to manage it for the rest of your life, you know. And, you know, who wants to do that? You know, I was trying to escape from parts of my life through drinking, and I did that for years, you know, drinking and drinking to try and get away from things. And there's no way I was going to be dragged back into another cul-de-sac or a bottomless hole where, something that I wasn't going to. It's like that idea of I'm never going to get away from alcohol, no matter what it is that I'm doing. As far as I'm concerned, this journey is all about mindset first and foremost. Not just about the journey away from booze, but also the journey towards the best possible version of yourself. So it was only when I abandoned those ideas altogether, you know, the ideas of being powerless, or that there was some kind of a deep flaw inside of me, and I started thinking about this as a habit, you know, just like my smoking habit had been, just like, you know, any eating habit is. That's when I started to make progress. It was then that I could see myself and my behavior for what they were, something that was, always had been, is right now, and always will be, utterly in my control. And that not only gave me the freedom to stop, it also gave me the freedom from ever going back to alcohol. You know, without that internal boogeyman watching over me. That one drink that was going to haunt me for the rest of my life. I was one drink away from complete destruction. What bullshit. You know, it's got nothing to do with one drink for me. Nothing to do with beware of that one drink. It's got everything to do with why the bloody hell would I ever want to put another drop of this stuff inside my body. And the decade since I started on this journey has proved that I was right in that, at least. You know, it's a much easier thing to follow the conventional wisdom, you know, follow the crowd, whether you're drinking or you're stopping drinking. It's sometimes the hardest thing to do, to stand out on your own 2 feet with your own thoughts, making your own decisions. But because of the way life works, you're going to find more honest and real answers about yourself and your life when you choose to do things that way, when you choose to listen to yourself and you know, what your ideas are. So I want to ask you to be very careful about the language that you use, the words that you use to describe yourself and your abilities. You're in control of these things, even though you might not think you are in the moment. Some people believe that they have to use certain words because, you know, that's just the way it is. No, you know, it's not the way it is. You know, words like alcoholic, diseased, recovery, and even sober to a certain degree, these are labels that are going to make other people feel strong while making you feel weak. And they give other people power over you, you know, while really committing you to limited and destructive thoughts about yourself. You know, choose words that give you power. Choose words and labels that expand your thinking, expand who you think you are, you know, especially those thoughts about yourself. So there's a link down below this video for our course if you want to start out on that. It's a beginner's course to getting sober. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you soon. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.